Hey there, cats and kittens, and thanks for tuning in to another episode of The MonkeyBoy Presents the DC Comics Superhero Collection by Eaglemoss, and today I'm happy to bring you another episode from the sub-series collection, the Blackest Night, Brightest Day series, issue number 13, Hawk. This guy has been around the DCU for quite a while, believe it or not. He was introduced in the Silver Age around the early to mid-80s or so, along with his brother Don, aka Dove. The pair of them have appeared, for those of you who are aware of him, on an episode or two, I believe, of the Justice League Unlimited animated series, and he has also appeared on the Batman, the Brave, and the Bold alongside every DC character ever. For those of you unaware of Hawk, well, that of course is why we have the magazine, which will tell you everything you need to know about the entity of chaos, also known as Hank Hall. And he really is a cool hero. He's a tank. He's a powerhouse. Really, really neat. Then, of course, we'll look at the figure itself, covering the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's a really nice figure. I sort of question why he was included in the sub-series as opposed to the regular DC superhero collection. However, he is a really great figure, a cool character. I hope you sit back, relax, and enjoy. Issue number 13 of the DC Comics Superhero Collection, Blackest Night, Brightest Day sub-series, Hawk. First up, the character section. And his younger brother, Don Hall. The pair were extremely close, but couldn't be more opposite. Hank was a conservative and aggressive type of individual, where Don tended to be a bit more liberal and peace-loving. Their father, a judge named Irwin, was nearly assassinated by a local mob boss after he had sentenced him to prison. The two boys were determined to protect their father no matter what, when suddenly they heard voices speaking to them. The voices were a Lord of Order and a Lord of Chaos, who chose the two boys to become their representatives on Earth, granting them both superpowers. Together, Hawk and Dove went on to join the Teen Titans, and also, once upon a time, fought alongside Batman. Hawk and Dove went into a semi-retirement until the crisis on Infinite Earths caused them to come to the aid of civilians in their hometown. As the pair tried to rescue as many people as they could, agents of the evil Anti-Monitor struck down and killed Hawk's brother, Dove. Hawk was ejected from the Teen Titans after nearly shooting one of their villains in the head. He proceeded to get into a fight with then-team leader Donna Troy, also known as Wonder Girl. Still consumed with grief over the loss of his brother Don, Hank soon came into contact with the new Dove, Dawn Granger. Hank initially resented Dawn for trying to take his brother's place, but the pair became extremely close after they had to fight off an attack from the villain known as Kestrel. Dawn as Dove seemed to be the only thing keeping Hank's rage under control, until the pair came into contact with a new villain calling himself Monarch. Monarch claimed that he ruled the world in a possible future timeline for the DCU, and he had traveled back through time in order to destroy Dawn Granger. Monarch said this would only help Hawk, but instead it threw him into a rage. Hank, who had now fully given in to his villainous side and was calling himself Monarch, traveled through the time stream until he managed to master time travel. When he emerged once again into the DCU, he was now a villain capable of manipulating time and space known as Extent. After Extent and Parallax failed to rewrite the DCU timeline, Extent was eventually tricked by members of the JSA into time traveling on board a doomed jetliner seconds before it exploded. After Extent's death, it was revealed that Dawn Granger had survived the attack and was still fighting crime as Dove alongside her new partner, her older sister Holly, the new Hawk. Blackest Night soon fell across the DCU, and Black Lantern power rings were raising an evil undead army of heroes and villains. This included the original Hawk, Hank Hall, who sought out and killed his replacement, Holly Granger, literally ripping her still-beating heart from her chest. As Brightest Day dawned, the white entity of life chose 12 heroes and villains to return to life. Hank Hall, the original Hawk, was among them. As Hank and the other 12 were returned to life as White Lanterns, the entity of life revealed to them that it was dying, and was looking for one of them to replace it. Each was also given a vision of the future, and Hank was informed that he had to catch the boomerang in order to save his teammate. It was revealed at the conclusion of the Brightest Day event that Hank was meant to catch a boomerang that the villain Captain Boomerang was hurling at his partner Dove. Next, we look at a few more classic stories from the Brightest Day event. This time we have Green Lantern Corps, Brightest Day. This story opens right at the end of the Blackest Night and actually starts with a epilogue to that storyline. We find the Green Lantern Corps trying to rebuild Oa after being decimated by one war after another. We learn more about the Alpha Lanterns and what their whole deal is in the Green Lantern Corps. We also see Ganthet retiring from being one of the Guardians of the Universe to become the personal Green Lantern protector of the planet Oa and Sector 0000. The evil cyborg Superman returns in an effort to try and take over the Alpha Lanterns, who are more machine now than man. And we also learn a lot more about Sinestro. A lot more of his history is revealed, a lot more about how he came into possession of his yellow power ring, and that one of the newest Green Lanterns, a woman named Soranik Natu, who is currently Kyle Rayner's girlfriend, is also Sinestro's daughter. It's a fantastic 10-issue series, extremely well illustrated, and if you're a fan of the Green Lantern, you should definitely check it out. This issue's iconography section continues to look at life and death in the DCU with the death and resurrection of the second Robin, Jason Todd. It begins with Jason Todd's death at the hands of the maniacal Joker, who beat him and left him for dead. After this event sent shockwaves through the DC universe, we jump ahead years later and find Superboy Prime trapped within a pocket dimension trying to break free. Every time he punches at this dimensional gateway, he sent ripples across the DCU, which inadvertently rewrote parts of history. One of the things he did was accidentally raise Jason Todd from the dead. Jason was left with no memory of anything about where he had come from or what had happened to him, was eventually found by Talia al Ghul, who placed him inside of a Lazarus pit. This unfortunately nearly made the young man go insane. He has since regained his sanity to some degree, but feels that he should be the true protector of Gotham City and that Batman doesn't go far enough in his pursuit of justice. He has since returned to Gotham, where he uses more violent methods than Batman and has even fought with his old mentor, and has taken the codename Red Hood. Hawk's Friends and Foes section looks at many different lanterns across the color spectrum, including the Star Sapphire Miri, the Green Lantern Salak, and the Blue Lantern Flash. And here is Hawk, also known as Hank Hall. And that's a lot of H's, ladies and gentlemen. The 13th issue in the Blackest Night, Brightest Day sub-series collection by Eaglemoss, and a very nice figure. While I do sort of question why they decided to include both Hawk and Dove, who you'll see in a couple of issues, in this collection, I don't know. I mean, I'm glad they're here. I love having the pair. They're a classic duo from the DCU. I just thought they could have been part of the regular collection instead, and use these slots for some other actual lanterns from whatever color spectrum. However, all that aside, I really do love this figure. His sculpt, his paint job, his coloration, everything about him is great. His musculature is outstanding, as you can see, which lends to the sculpt. It's just really fantastic. There's lots of shadowing and shading to make it all pop. I love his cape, this fringy cape thing, and it is solid lead, so they're a little bit bendable, but not too much. You really want to be careful with it. It is a little bit fragile for that reason. But as you can see, the paint is extremely clean. His expression is neat. Even the pose is pretty cool. I have a few minor problems with the figure. One of them is an actual imperfection on mine, but overall, I really dig it a lot. I do want to talk more about, though, the things that I do have issues with here in the next section in a moment. Hawk stands atop the White Lantern logo, and the underside of the base features his name and serial number. And to give you a sense of size and scale, here he is next to the first White Lantern, Sinestro. A group shot with all the other members of the Teen Titans that have been released as part of the Eaglemoss collection so far. And a group shot of Hawk alongside his teammates on the Birds of Prey. Hawk is a really terrific figure. Whether or not he belongs in the Blackest Night, Brightest Day sub-series collection is a matter for debate, but for what he is, I think he is borderlining on being an absolutely outstanding, nearly perfect figure in this series. We'll start with the good. I really like the pose. It looks like he's charging into battle. I think the paint is very clean, the color scheme is really nice, lots of shadowing and shading. Dig the cape, and the sculpt is exceptional. Lots of musculature, which the shadowing and shading, as I said, sort of shows off. The boots, as you can see, look great. The red, the paint on him is fantastic. It's a mix of different shades of red that give it a nice texture. Same thing goes for the white. It's not a flat white. It looks textured as well, like it's made out of some sort of fabric. His midsection as well is fantastically sculpted and painted. He has those red segments of the costume which are very sharp and look very aggressive. It's sort of his logo, if you will. His chest and his abdomen are very well sculpted, lots of musculature. He has a really nice V shape to him. Both of his arms are also huge. The red gloves with those neat little ridges, and the white in the arms with shadowing and shading, again to show off his huge shoulders, his biceps, his triceps, his forearms. He looks ripped and ready to fight. The cape, again, is terrific. Love how it's coming up and off of his shoulders, off the collarbones there. Each one has 3 tassels, I guess, for lack of a better term. His cape, though, really, it's nice. The paint is the same shade of red. I like how there are 3 pieces to each, which is accurate to the comic book. And the way they drape down and across the back and overlap each other is really nice. Finally, the head sculpt is outstanding, I think. It shows off the character, his aggressiveness, that he is the agent of chaos. The red is well painted. I like how it frames his face. It sort of looks like that Hawk logo. The white, again, has great texturing. His flesh tone is perfect. And his ears, I like that his ears are the flesh tone poking through the hood. It's totally accurate. And his teeth, that grimace, he just looks aggressive, like he's coming at you. It really does make the figure. onto the bad. And aside from some extremely minor paint bleed, mine has a couple of minor imperfections in the cape on both the left and right shoulder. There is some chipping in the paint, but I consider myself lucky because none of the tassels of the cape are broken. The only thing I sort of consider to be wrong with the figure is his scale. I think he could have been a little bit larger, regardless of the fact that he is hunched over, sort of squatting. He could have been bigger, I think. Finally, the Ugly. He is very fragile, which is par for the course with this Blackest Night, Brightest Day sub-series, especially his cape. All 6 of those lead tassels are very thin, very flimsy. You want to watch out for that, and if you can, check before you purchase. I would highly recommend doing so. Overall, I really love this figure a lot. I like Hawk and Dove. It's really cool that they managed to squeeze them in to the DC Eaglemoss collection, even if it was part of this sub-series collection. Again, I don't know that they really belong here. There are other White Lanterns I think I would have seen, and I would have liked to have had them in their White Lantern costumes, but at the same time, I appreciate the fact that they have Hawk in his original costume, the red and white. I really love it, crimson really, and white. He looks fantastic with the other members of the Teen Titans. He is very dynamic. He is cool to have on the shelf. If you know him and you love him, I think you should add him. Even if you're not collecting the Blackest Night sub-series collection, just because it's cool to have one of the only male members of the Birds of Prey, and just, I think, a great DC superhero. Again, it's weird that they didn't include him in the regular collection, but the fact that they have him here at all is really neat. I like him. Go pick him up, add him to your collection, and I really hope you've enjoyed my review of the 13th character in the Blackest Night, Brightest Day sub-series collection by Eaglemoss, Hawk, the Avatar of Chaos. Again, I really dig him. I think he's cool. Please stay tuned for a quick teaser trailer of the next figure in the regular Eaglemoss collection. Another hero, another mystical character, very magical, very mysterious, and those are some of my favorites. An underground hero, and very strange. Please stay tuned for that quick teaser. As always, I am your host, the MonkeyBoy, aka Jay to his friends. Thanks for watching.